Hello, good morning, good day, wherever you're at, good evening or good afternoon. Just want to chime on in. I had something recently that a friend of mine's daughter went through yesterday, and it comes to one of the discussions I'm going to be mentioning here. And my friend John, of course, he's black, and his daughter's is the same. Um, in which, it's really interesting that some of the things that when you raise children in a different environment, they tend to pick up whatever it is that environment tells them, dictates to them, and you have to do when you want to have your children raised, and you live in a certain area, you have a certain demographic of friends that you have. But the thing that really stood out with my friends with my friend and his daughter is, she's a bright young lady. She graduated from high school and went on, tried to go to college. But like most young people in their 20s and late teens and early 20s, and when it comes to picking a certain person, you have to watch what kind of people that come into your life. And this is what my looking for something. This is what my friend was trying to stress to her about the different people that come into her life. There's a bird outside. He's really, I don't know why they always come around my window. Anyway, so like most young people, they gonna do what they're gonna do. You try to give them advice on who you have in your life. When it comes to dating different guys, she has a certain preference, which is fine. She has a preference, but certain preference, and the guys that she picks are non-black, which is her preference. But here's the thing: the guys that she pick is non-black don't have anything going for themselves. They're not trying to do anything. They're not trying to go to school or really have a stable job. But she's just so fascinated with having some dude, catering to some dude that just because he's a very handsome looking dude, but he just happened to be white or something like that. But but the dude that she get with, he don't really think highly of her too much. The company's guys she dealt with had never thought highly of her. And of course, like most young men, they probably just want to have sex and leave the bag. Or like any other group of young men. And my friend John, he couldn't stand them. He couldn't stand these guys because they had nothing going for themselves. And they didn't have, one guy didn't even have a car. He's in his early 20s. He don't even have a car or nothing like that. Then John was telling me how the way their family was kind of dysfunctional anyway. And then the one parent turned out to be kind of racist. It's like, wow, and because they kind of resented his family because his family a little bit more. John, he had a more stable household and a good working class man, but they got jealous because of that, and they felt like their son was too good to be around their daughter. And he told me, and so you guys, the people is like that. And so one day, he was telling me that this one young man that went to school with her, he was a black young man, and he has a good character. He was nice. He's going to school. He was going to be something good, and turned to find out he did. He turned out to be a lawyer. And do you know why she didn't want to date him or have a stable relationship? Because he was too dark skinned. He was a black dude. And I was like, wow, he's too black. And that's something that, black people, have some issues among us that we don't like. Like, we have this some of us have this, and I believe that goes back to the plantation of the mentality that we come from, some of our families come from. And, somebody would say, don't bring no dark, nappy-headed boy, baby coming here, because I ain't going to watch it. And I think that when black people say stuff like that, they put something in their child's head that went from generation to generation. And it's something that some of us don't want to talk about. But yet, when we go around these other nations of people, whether you light or dark, they don't care, man. Some of these people looking at you the same way, like, hoping that you're not going, even though you might think you're above. You're one of these people that think that because you've been in this demographic area for a certain amount of time, but really just because a few people been nice to you, that is the opposite of your nationality, don't really want you up in their family either. And they may be friends with you. They might cut the rug with you once in a while, but they ain't trying to have you all like that either. And for the black people who think like that, because I went to a school in the suburbs, and I've always kind of the black people that seem to kind of they are what their product is. Because I have a blessed and fortunate. Just when I was younger, my mom kind of brought me towards the inner city schools, and then later on, I went towards the suburban schools, and it's like it's a different mindset among kids out there, and then young adults come out there. But it's just like they feel like they get to the point that just because you have arrived at a certain place in life, that it's not going to happen to you. Like people are they're going to discriminate, the same people that discriminate and call the ones in the city savages or whatever kind of name. They're not distinguishing. They pretty much they have a self prejudice towards you too. I just want to, and for black people who think like that, I went to church with people like this, and I know that even though that their children really wasn't used to having any black friends, because I can tell by the way they conducted themselves, and it was really kind of awkward being around people like this, because they grew up in like a 90210 kind of environment. You know what I mean? They just what they see. That's why you see a lot of them shows that majority look like them, and movies that look like them. That's what they relate to. They're not relating to everybody else, other cultures being. Not too many people relate to any other culture being in their culture, and if they do, they're gonna be among their culture of people. 9 chances out of 10. But it was just the same thing that even my friend John's brother-in-law, who he was a straight A student probably when he was in high school, and he's black too, and in fact he was good athlete. In fact, he went from high school Penn State recruiting and in football, and before that, but his parents, but he had a girlfriend, and her parents were Greek, so they didn't want them Tony seeing their daughter. And even though Tony was well established and Tony's probably right now doing good, but there are some people that don't want to see black people in their race. And even though that some people say you're going, every once in a while you come across some people like that until you get them one-on-one, And the only people they're gonna reveal this to that really feel when it comes to this, when that topic come up, when it comes to something about relationships and interracial dating, that's when you find out where some people really stand. And even if you were a white person and you listen to this video, somebody gonna come across your path that you're gonna be surprised if you haven't already. Let you know that no one wants another race in their family, and there's some people like that, and so that it projects out that way. And it's a leading what I'm about to go through why this young man did what he did. It's another version of it. So what they do is that people get inferiority minded. The superiority minded get inferiority minded people who scared because it changed the complexion of the demographic of people that surround them. And even the, and for some people they say, well, I don't understand. We live in the 21st century. Why people still think like, why people talk like that? They've always been like that around you. They've been talking like this for the last 5, 6, 7 decades. They've been talking about a race war and things like that. And it's not like, and I'm not saying that all the people of that ethnic group, who was be labeled as white, is not all people think like that. However, there are some among them that thinking like this, because no matter, and you can see that it's like, why would you worry about a race war when you live in a predominantly town that most of the people that look like you, some of the companies people that look like run companies and corporations and cities and things like that look like you. Why are you so worried about something like that? And then it's not easy sometimes being a black person in one of those towns out there, because you're conditioned to be to want and marry and go and cultivate with them. So that's what and there are black people that live in towns throughout America. They're just 90% white, and whether they're all Trump supporters or whatever, which that has nothing to do with, but a good percentage of them are. You might have a certain demographic is on the other, but not a chance you are what the product of your environment is. So, we were talking about this, me and my friend John, and sadly, to say that, and it could maybe someone among the household might be joking around saying, you ain't, just by taking lightly that I don't want to be with somebody because they're dark, because maybe things that are going on in the family, certain family members that have hurt you, that offended you, that maybe caused them to go this direction. And then some people say, well, I don't want to have nothing to do with my own people. Some people are like that. When they think that they get to a certain level in life, they think that that's going, and that's when they come to the bumper shop, that they find some people on the other side that's cool, that's resourceful, that they're just like a part of them. But that's just a small micronism of the people, that the vast majority of people that they know, because at the vast majority that they know, they probably saying something behind their back, and then making innuendo jokes, making some, and this is what they do. Because the reason why I know about these things, because I've been around the product of and witnessed things like that myself, and just trying to not come on non-threatening, just very try to be mind open. But even though I'm mind open, but it's something about your appearance, and no matter if you dress right, no matter if you talk a certain way, as long as you are, they feel subjected to kind of come at you. Among them, they will come making innuendos and suggestions, because how they learned that was from TV and watching videos and things like that. So they think that that's how some black people are, because they really come from areas that there's hardly no black people. They live in neighborhoods with hardly no black people. They come to schools with hardly no black people, and so their neighbors, their friends, their parents, somebody is going to be among them. Is going to be kind of biased and prejudiced and say say innuendo things that they speak in code, and this is telling black people that you don't like yourself, but you're trying to put up one group of people, but among the group of people you're putting up with, some people might think that you're just their favorite toy, you're their favorite amusement, and you're just their favorite person. You're the only black person that 500 million people, and you're the only favorite black person that they know. And you have people like that out there, and that's why I use the term the black, everybody good. You want the good black people, and there's bad black people, and everybody else is the N-word. But most of the time, everybody is the N-word when what they see on TV, and it's a fact. So what you see, it plays out. Whatever is behind closed doors comes out into open. So this is, I believe, this would happen with scenarios. Because how can a kid like that one young man that did the shooting in Buffalo, New York, have anything to do because if you look at the town where he's at in Compton, New York, there ain't no black people hardly in that part of the country. It sits at the border, and most of those border towns is predominantly white. And I've been through towns and ride through these little towns like that. My mom used to be scared about me, but I would never stop. Sometimes I would never stop and get food or gas. I'm just passing through. I'm not, because I gotta get some gas. So you might get a funny look, but I'm not saying that everybody is like that, but that does go through your mind when you are out there by yourself, because you never know what's out in the country, small little towns. You don't know what type of demographic. But I just find it's messed up. Like, what made it? Why would someone do something like that when you live in a majority town that looks majority like you? You went to school with people that majority look like you. I just don't understand people that do, and I'm like most people, probably some people, I don't understand it either. But it's something that they see on TV, they see through the internet and social dark web, and they get obsessed with it, with us. And very people that do stuff like this is people that that look like they hardly never be around people like us, trying to get, I don't know, in their version that they get this warped mind in their head that something telling them that all these different groups of people are going to start taking over the planet and start taking over it. And just because you see someone that look like person, but the black person could be a mayor or whatever, it's just that they were that's just one area, that's one city, that's just one town, that's just one individual that's got high elected, whether it's in the company or in the corporation. Black people are not going to like take over the doggone United States, so to speak. There's always going to be, and I hate to say this, put this in. I heard a guy said it's always going to be a white man's land. I mean, basically what it is. I mean, because it's still 90% of it are white people, and they're gonna always have the land. They're gonna always have the resource. They're gonna always have access to the resource. So, what is someone like him inferior about things like that? I mean, you got other bigger cities that's highly integrated but them people who choose to integrate with the other groups of people in those cities, races, ethnic origins, and religion, that's them. Why did him and people like him come into the inner city where you have enough choice out here? And like I mentioned earlier in past videos, there are towns that are still 95% white, and they would never. And like you can go places in parts of Utah and Montana and beautiful places out there, and it's still predominantly white. I just don't get it. Wyoming, I mean, it's still predominantly white. I mean, the Dakotas, all them places out there, it's still predominantly white. Washington State, all the way up into Canada, is still predominantly white. Why in parts of Oregon, in parts of Northern California, it's still predominantly white? So my question is, what are you so afraid? These people afraid of? And in a few areas where you see black people or any other people, it's just like 1 or 2%, but they still have 90% of the country that look like them, all the way from the city all the way into the woods. I mean, talk about rural towns where population from 2,500 to 25,000 people, and you can pick and choose and be what you want. I just don't seem to understand, like some people, like why you want to go jump on another. So it has to be something deeper issue, and by attacking somebody, just because somebody you see over the internet or what you see on your TV, okay, that's your choice. If you want kind of people that feel that way, and stay where you at. But and I hear this insecurity that comes up out of some of them that say that, and I know that's even in the past, saying things like, yeah, whatever happened all to the white boys, and they act like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and different individuals. But it's like, dude, do you see that it's still 90% of people that still look like you, and whether they agree with you or whether they not agree with you, they still look like you. What is the problem? I'm not saying you live in predominantly America. Still predominantly America, still 90% white, despite all the immigrants coming through, despite all whatever ethnic minority groups, there is still 90% white and 90% of the towns in USA. And I can go probably pull up the stats on that and show you. What are you so afraid and so scared of? And black people who's in the suburbs, why do you think the way you some of you who had that don't bring no dark hair nappy, why do you have that self-hatred? When I mentioned in one video that you get caught up in your own stereotype, believe that you're non-intelligent. Some of you like you're non-intelligent because you go into the stereotype of what these people have told you what you are from TV and misinformation, and until you have to go out and really find it on your own. And you come from a beautiful people that really are beautiful people that are not in violently nature like they pan out to be. It's just that in the area where you see people that look like us, it's just because the demographic, the situations, and the history, and what caused the chaos, and what caused the neighborhoods that try to keep it destitute is the people that you try to idolize. Some of the people that look like them that try to keep others in destitute. Even in America, because they're envious and they're jealousy. And some people, it might be someone that look like them tell you the same thing. It's a fact out there, and it's not till you wake up you really realize. And so, for black people, stop hating on yourself, despite what you see. What's going on? Because the reason why why you really hate it so much, and they despise you so much, and you still get persecuted no matter where you go, no matter what part of the country you live in, is because you're the people of the Bible. You are, hear what I'm saying? You are the people of the Bible. Speak up. Deuteronomy 23 or 25 down to, you are the people of the Bible. That's why they can't stand you. So while you trying to put on someone else that It's your skin. Yeah, you know your hair too nappy. This, not nothing. Or your skin is too this. You know, light skin, dark skin. You're giving it to this Willie Lynch mentality. That some of their people projected up on you. Well, you are the blessed one. You are the ones that have the blessed of the complexion. You have the complexion of what in the book of Revelation. Your hair is like wool. Your skin is like dark burnt brass. Brass has a substance of beauty. Has a tint to it. You have a tint on your skin. That some people call it melanated. And you can't picture it. And then you got some black people that can't picture that. Don't have self-esteem because it's something spiritual in a spiritual DNA that they want to be is like other people, but can't stand what's inside themselves, and it acts out because you don't know who you are. Because when you have self-pride about yourself and what behind your skin, and people idolize having a skin, because if they didn't have idolize that skin, they wouldn't be going out there trying to get dark in their pigmentation, or try to get next to you. But at the same time, they're trying to darken it. Some of them trying to darken their pigmentation. They're trying to feel like they're better than you, and they don't know that the demographic of your ancestors, where they come from, came from greatness. And even though it came into a poor, destitute, but what birthed out of the slavery and the horrific parts of slavery to come to be one of the greatest inventors the world. And when black people said America would have gone down, it would have never reached to a level that it had been for black people. The only thing that they had to do is just treat us like a human being. That's simply, in some cases, some people did. Not in the vast majority of people that didn't. But just because they try to keep black people ignorant, secondary education, secondary waste, secondary, and every time when black people find a way to come up, they envious and jealousy took them to try to destroy and discourage them to have black towns and things like that. And so why are you self-hating yourself? You don't even know. And there are black people who are going to hear this video that there's some, you're going to be surprised among us that don't even know this. Don't even take time, because I can understand why they say, hey, you worship, it comes to you around there, you're worshiping their God. And when I mean their God, is the God of what the national title, white supremacy. And they gave you the image of what their God looked like. Not the God of the not the God of the book, not the God of the Bible. What the image of what the God of the Bible supposedly look in their vision, telling you their history. And that's the truth. Not the history, their history. They're not telling you, and this is where it starts at. And it's not about a religion. It's about what's in this book. And when you get the understanding what's in this book, you find yourself, you find your culture, you find your ethnic. What's in the book, you find out the people that even though they didn't call themselves black, white, brown, tan, whatever, but they come from a different region of origin. But this is your genealogy right here. And some of the people that the stories that your pastors were reading about, they were reading about your ancestors. Some of the people are your ancestors that the Most High have talked to. So why are you sitting down there? And if you ever, and some of these black people who live in the suburbs, and you're not gonna hear it, and it's in your church, whether it's a black church or whether it's a mixed church. They're not gonna tell you this. They're not gonna be honest and have this kind of discussion. it's something that you have to come to and really be an open mind and find out to get and ask God to give you the anointed person who don't take it and teach it for their own bias and their own prejudice. But you are a beautiful people, and you don't even know it. But they dictate to you, and it's true. When you look at the backgrounds of the holidays, Christmas, Easter, Halloween, it's something powerful. Even though the majority of people celebrate, a good percentage of people celebrate, but really, you're picking up the DNA of what their ancestors started. Christmas was started over in Eastern Europe, and this can be verified. Easter was started over in Eastern Europe. That the Catholic Church that brought it into Christmas, even Halloween, all was started in Eastern Europe. So when you raise around people, the descendants of Eastern Europe, you have a European mindset. You think you see eyes, you see what they see, you celebrate what they celebrate. Excuse me. And that's what majority of us when we come in. And so we wanted to be around them so much because our parents, our grandparents, are so far taught to see history late because we wanted to be accepted. Because even though there's a few good people that give you some trinkets and things like that, you want to be like the people that give you the trinkets instead of being gracious and having but also having a spiritual DNA keep to yourself. And it's something that even myself, even I was raised the same way. I had to find out till later on in life, at this point in my life, that you are the chosen people. You are the people. You are the true chosen people. And the reason why black people are going through what they're going through, and why they rise against you, why they despise you, why they hate you, because it goes back to the Bible. And even though other nations do go through their persecution, whether it's the Asian community, the Jewish community, or some Muslim community, or LGBT community, it comes back to the people that they hate the most. That they put experiments and say that every once in a while it's almost like which one got to take the blunt of the worst things to put conditions on, and it's black people. And no matter if it's at a higher place, and no matter how many times black people and a person out of a group of people as black people in this country, they always try to label majority the same way, and then gets a black person to get on the same talking points to basically speak that over their own people. I'm saying, well, according to studies, that's what the study says, but that black person's talking the same point as that white person who has a hidden agenda and bigotry, who project these prejudice things out there in the public and put them in studies and things like that. So that's and it's the same thing when you move it over into politics. They do the same thing. But yet we'll use you, we'll persecute you. The Roman government will use you like a Roman government. Black people will shoot each other in the street or get shot down, get abused from the police or someone else to be maimed and murdered to death. And it creates a trauma in your image. And I know it's a strong trauma. And it's not, like I said again, it's not taken away from other people going through their trauma. Because there's some people, other people of other different cultures that have gone through their trauma. But when it comes to black people, particularly, is at a whole different magnitude. And I think what it does to some black people, it traumatizes them to the point that They really don't understand. You're the chosen. Hear what I'm saying. You're the chosen people. They despise you. They despise us. No matter what you do, they hate you. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, there's a certain, it's in them to be that way. There's in some of them, not all, some of some individuals, because what was perpetuated, and it could be something what they saw on TV or something in their bloodline or what was carried over, and I do believe that there's some people that carry that gene of hatred, and it's like, why do you hate? Because and I remember, I'll never forget this. When years ago, this woman asked this woman, "Why do you hate black people?" They couldn't. Honestly, they just, I don't know why. I can't stand them. And someone don't tell you, I don't know why I can't stand them. I can't stand them people. It's something deep rooted. So that's something spiritual. That's something that could be. Of course, we know it's Satan, of course, but it's something. It's deeper than that. It could be something that go in the generations, that their grandmother hated black people too, and then maybe they probably go back to the foundation that they was the one that ones that were on board to sign in the law that blacks were 3/5 of a human being, that they couldn't live in their town. They didn't want to integrate and to racially mix. And you still had, and believe it or not, some people was asked back then, you still got some people that carry the traits over to now. You still have people carry those traits. Well, why can't they leave us? It's in them. And the only way you can get this truth is you have to get on your knees and let the Most High God show you why does this keep happening over and over. And we know it's Satan. Like I said, everybody can agree with that. But this is something at a level, but it's something spiritual level. And black people have always been spiritual. So but the people that are controlling you, they know that when you say, "I love you," I can shoot 13 people that look like you, and you'll get on your knees and say, "Oh, I forgive them. You know, I don't like what you did, but I forgive you." So, and some black people will do that. They'll choose to do that. No matter if it was a situation like Bochum John down in Dallas. No matter, and it was a situation in South Carolina, China shooting. Black people will always have that mentality. And that tells you a lot that you are God's people, because one of the reasons you conditioned to believe, forgive, which forgiving is good in some cases in the Bible, but you don't have to forgive the devil. And someone that stands in agreement with the devil. And that's why some black people get mad, frustrated at some other black people. Stop saying that. Stop, because it's like what they're saying is that you sound like you're forgiving and you're wicking down to the devil. You know, and sometimes that can come from the plantation mentality of what they used to do to some black people with their ancestors on the plantation. You put the good black person against the educated black person. You take the ones that's not too bright and the ones that is bright, and they pin them against each other. You take the dark-skinned black person, put them up against a light-skinned black person. You let them have a rival up against each other. It's amusement and it's entertainment. And unfortunately, you have some black people that fall right smack into that category. And they sit back and mock and laugh. And they laugh at you when we destroy each other. Psychologically, physically. And they just don't want to be they want to stay away from it. They're amused about it, but they'll sit back and watch from generation to generation, whether it's old, young, amp it up on each other. Why do they do and try to take and be drowned out by the kind of music we listen to, and that takes life in the form of action as far as what they mimic, and then you have people that control and allow it to go on TV, be it plastered all over music videos, movies, and everything, and they keep indoctrinating you, and it tells that they keep bringing up these slave movies every once in a while, and so critical race theory ain't just don't have to be shown in school. Sometimes they bring critical race theory on the movie screen. So when black people look at when they see it, white people seeing the same movie, oh, this way they was, so it turns into a mockery. So that's why you see it in this present generation. And you're being emotionally affected by it, because I can understand where some black people come from. So we need to separate. Some of us need to separate from them because of to internally heal, because you can't internally heal from people who look like the people, even though we know it's not all of them that understand agreement with this, but the ones that do is trying to get away from the ones that have this, internal hatred. So the internal hatred turns into sarcastic. The sarcastic turns into satire. It turns into jokes. Then your children be subjected to it because they don't understand why some of them don't understand why they're being subjected to it. But when your your black child go around the environment, is because the only time they see black people is what they see on TV and what they be conditioned to, or somewhere around them, condition them. That's another thing. They condition from somebody been around, so they project what they do on them, and they just talk just that's their personality. That's just his opinion. That don't necessarily, and sometimes they won't even dispute what that person is saying about another group of people. They code up with it. They code up with what they're saying. And I've seen that in the last couple of years. Even with the person that I was kind of hanging out with once in a while. When I went over to his environment, there were people around there that I can tell that when you've been around people, you can tell the people that have good nature because they used to be talking with different people, and then you have the people that used to seeing different people, and they give a certain vibe off. They look at the people that look like them, but when they look at you, it's something that they're not used to seeing. They used to see you on TV. They're not used to have, because what they think in the demographic of people they encounter, where they work with, and among their relatives, their friends, look like them. But they're not used to people look like you because they really don't know you, and they really don't want to. Some of them don't want to know you because what the environment is. Well, we're taught as black people, and we love all people, and even some of the people that come around us, we love on them, and it doesn't matter. But when it comes to them, some of them, it's not that. They're not used to you being in their atmosphere. They're not used to you being in the environment. So you take that initiative and put it on your own people. I don't want to be around those ones down there because they hooded. And I can understand some people are ignorant. There's some of us that are ignorant among our own group too. But at the same time, it ain't gonna be easy over there either, because you're gonna feel outcasted in some way over there too. Now, if you them like take you in as a friend, you're equally in their eyes, but a certain percentage of them are not used to people dealing with people like you. No matter how intelligent you talk, no matter what kind of education you have, and it's what's on the outside what they see. It's your essence. It's your skin. It's your skin that the enemy is your people, that the demographic of the people where you come from. That's why they don't like you. That's why they have a bias. And you might even see it on your job. You might see it even where you live. You're going to see in some form or fashion of some kind of discriminatory practice towards you. And the only reason why they discriminatory practice because they fear of you to come up. So they have to do. That's why you shouldn't discriminate against one another. In that sense, because you've already been discriminated against in some form or fashion from people that look like them. And if you don't believe me, just sit back and watch. Just sit back and observe. You can take when I'm just dropping some gems is because and the reason why I know about this because I have witnessed it throughout my life. And I would like to share with somebody that maybe they don't know why they're going through, what's going on, and they be like, some people, why did they come over here and do? Why do they do what they do? Why are they targeting us? The reason why they target us because they were trained to target you. They see you on TV, they see you in the sport music videos, and it's just in them, man. It's in them, my friend. It's just in them, in some people. It's jealousy and hatred, and that could be something in the bloodline. It could be someone that they came across their grandfather had the same anger and grandmother has towards black people, so it comes out. It can be passed. It's the spirit of it. They pass on their spirit. And then some people, they wouldn't like that. Maybe their parents or grandparents wouldn't like that. They picked it up from their friends. They picked it up from their friends and misinformation. How do they do that? Look at them black people. They got their little organizations. Every time they cry, they always want something, always want some quality. What am I supposed to do? Same old talking points. But yet, they don't see they have 90% of everything. You get 2%, they want you to have no percent. You got 2, they probably have 90 to 100%. And so, how do we do this? They sit back and figure out ways to try to keep the 2% to destitute percent. And when we sit back and arguing about each other, who's Democrat, who's Republican, they sit back there laughing because you fighting over which slave masters. But they both don't want you next door to them, and they don't want you marrying their daughters and their sons' reality because they don't want that bloodline. They don't want, even though so we all human, we all go back to the first. We all came from the first people in Africa. Yes, we do. But America taught skin color to all the other nations. Even other nations picked up. America was one of the countries that taught about skin color. Skin color matters. And to the countries, maybe someone like Canada, they try to indirect or in denial. They're really scared up there too. They're scared of change. Despite all the people up there in different parts of Europe, they scared too. They don't want to be less than. So that's why you see separatists and nationalists and these terms keep popping up all over because they're scared. It's out of fear. Fear turns to what should we do? Amp up and arm up. Let's war against them. So that's what developed young men like them young dudes that do like what the New Zealand shooter done and what do the Dylan Roof done 4 years ago, and this boy what this idiot did up there in New York. They're scared, so they have to act out in certain ways. They have to cam up in certain ways because they feel like the government is conspired against them for some reason. The government, and they get these warped perceptions. But the people in the government, the majority of them look like them, so which it doesn't make no sense because majority of the people in the government probably have houses that live in Concord, New York. They have the $500,000 homes of 500,000. It doesn't make any sense, do it? But I say this to you, is that the reason why it is because you are the people of the Bible. They're insecure about you. They feel present by your presence. When you invent things, it goes around the world. You are unique people, black people. You are unique. You are uniquely. So you should never hate the melanin in your skin, the texture of your hair, because they can't. There's nothing they can do with you. They try to tan like you. They try to put injections in butt like their lips and their butt like you. They try to do their hairstyle like you. Tell me if I'm lying. But yet they calling you. They try to put you down. Some of them friends try. Some of the people that are out there by them try to put a name on you. And yet they trying to be what they. And you know that must be the Most High God will do that to somebody in their family that's trying to do all that stuff to their body. Same when they sit around, they laughing and joking, but soon they come along, they get their first interracial sex with somebody. I don't think all the people like that, but that same person with a friend, and there's some people can verify what I'm saying. It might come from another white person and say that this dude was racist and prejudiced. We used to crack jokes about different people all the time. You should see what he said about black women. You should see what he said about black men. But they left it with the people that look like you. But deep down, I think they really want to be people. They really want to be you. Because why would you? It must be something about the people. If you have to interject whatever you is on them, or mock them, or do you want to be them? Is that why you mock them? That's why they make satire and personal jokes to try to pull down and bring down their self-esteem, hit them in their self-worth, trying to play mind games with them. That's what it is. So and because they as far as the race war thing, they hear about race war. They've been talking about this since the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Ain't nobody want no race war. That's some delusion that popped up in their head. There is no race war. There's never going to be a race war. The race war that they've been wanting is what you see in the Ukraine right now. And that's a real war between the Russians and Ukrainians. And that's as far as close to race war you're going to get. You know why? Because the Most High God ain't going to allow it to be no race war among people from a race. And they can't figure this out. You know? So that's what it is. They don't want to. They don't want. It would make no sense. But these people who's trying to drum up on the dark web this stuff is because they're insecure. They're insecure people. They're very insecure about themselves. And if they took time to really examine what is something about them, they would be wasting their time on somebody, worrying about what another group of people do. All you got to do is worry about your own. And the government is not just targeting a certain demographic of people. It's affecting everybody. It's not because, well, it should be just them only, them group of people, or them people that religion only. No, that's not how the way life is. So they live in a fantasy bubble. What's happening on your job, what happening when your child goes to school, or what happened in your neighborhood has nothing to do with another race of people, or another people that's in government, that's what they blame it on a certain religion. They always blame things on it, just Jewish people, which that's maybe a certain percentage of people that have a Jewish background, but most of them, it's not just, it's people that look like them but at a higher, different office rate. So has nothing to do with a religion. It's just that they're very insecure. So they start getting mad and jealous and start attacking people's synagogues and churches and mosques and religious institutions because they're insecure. The evilness in their heart has caused them insecurity. That's what it is. So don't ever feel that you should be ashamed of your skin, and stop telling you, we need to stop this among our people. Dark skin, light skin. You fall into really, because what you're doing when you do that, you fall into the Willie Lynch playbook. Was playing out. Somebody said there was no such thing as a Willie Lynch. Someone tried to dispute that, but you see the pattern of it is because it's still playing over in the black community to this day. What man did that came from some part of Europe, brought slaves and said, "This is how I train my slaves how to do this." And you do this, this will be on the next 400 or 500 generations. You have black people in America in certain places still carrying it out. Dark skin, light skin, male versus female, young versus old. Meanwhile, they sit back and the descendants watch this. You shoot each other in the inner cities around you, in the home, in your neighborhood. This is what's going on. People can't put this all together, but the people that's doing it, because someone trained them, told you, and did a psyop mentality by when you wearing your. And I heard this, that when you sag your jeans, it's sagging. Turn around, Nigga, and that's you turn out to be, and you put it in the music, put it in a rap video, and you put it among your language, your lingo, and so it goes into what they perceive you to be, and they just think it's a style with their young people, but some of their people know why is it like that. And so when you stop acting like that, you're embarrassing me. That's them. That's for them people over there. Hey, but mom, it was cool, Jamal. Hey. Got white kids going, "What's up, my dick?" I mean, they know that's just a phase, but they really want to keep perpetuating, want us to curse each other out, put that curse on us, so it goes into, because every word has life, and what life takes form. And see, some of us who don't read the Bible, don't spend time, ask a pastor or a pastor that ain't really talking, ain't even giving the knowledge to say, does words take life like the book of James says? And these other scriptures? Yes. Because you see it playing out into this day. That's the message, where some people are trying to get you to come to a church to show you this word. And they can pull up the scriptures and show you. Some of it is because as a people, we're cursing ourselves. And I do believe too, maybe because it has something to do maybe with the holidays, and I think that comes into play too. We want to be them when we see the Santa Claus. We want to be them when we see the Easter Bunny and what represented behind the Easter Bunny. We want to see them when we see the renaissance of the scriptures that's pointing our faces, the Renaissance Jesus Christ, not the one of the Bible. We want to be them, and so that goes into our spirit, and so it changes what we think about each other. And this is not just not in America. This is in the Caribbean. It's in Africa and different other places. And we're not the only group of people. There's other groups of people that want to be like them too. Because they see them that they're in the upper class. They see them running and ruling things. And they figure, if I can run and rule things, if I can get next to them, if I can get next to them and I can have children with them, then I have a part of them in me. Then they'll accept me. And I don't want to be accepted among my own people because I don't like the way the destitute is. So this is what we call the supremacy up here. That someone infiltrate the supremacy. And something that's spiritually, that's deep, something that's deep inside of us. And sometimes you have to detox. And the reason why some of our people are saying we have to come away from it and detox from them, because maybe we have to detox our mind from that for a while. And I think that's why some black people are saying we need to separate, we need to detox from it. So you hear black people, we need to separate, have our own, and build up our own, in which other nations have done this, are doing the same thing. They have choose to be among their own. They'll integrate for various reasons for certain things, but they take whatever they come to integrate with mainstream, and they go back and they take it to the other people. To any other group of ethnic group of people do this, so they can take and give back. But when it comes to black people have been so warped and conditioned. Even though we're very patriotic and everything, even though a few people over among a certain percentage of people who are white that love us, but it's like a part of us can't understand that. And I think I can see where my other Hebrew brothers are talking about is that sometimes maybe you have to detox away from it, or mentally heal this, to open up your eyes. Brothers and sisters, I'm sorry, I want to exclude the women, because maybe what this is, maybe it's because the radio, the TV, the social media, what this has dictated what we are. They might have a point there, because some of us be acting out, and we don't have no disregard from the old and the young and people among that look like us, with the same ethnic features as us, with the same background as us. And that goes back to what I was saying about my friend John's daughter, and about that could be one of the reasons why. And sometimes some people, it can be clearly by choice, that's what they're attracted to. That could be it too. But I'm just giving you two versions of why we think the way we do. But I gotta give you this version, and you should love people. Yeah, one thing, it's not wrong with loving other people. Nothing wrong with finding other people equally. God made them equally. That's true. He made them equally neat for everything in their body. That's true. And whatever they accomplish, that's very true. But sometimes I learned along the way, you gotta learn to understand your people, understand who you are, and love yourself. Then you love your family. Then you learn to love your people. Then you can love other people. That's the message I get from certain individuals who are my Hebrew brothers and sisters are saying on the internet. It's not about hating other people. It's not about we're gonna do to them what that they've done to us. No, it's that you have to learn to love yourself, because maybe all this took the Willie Lynch play put that we still live under this curse to this society in America. Even America's name is even got significant even in that. But maybe we need to understand someone's need to withdraw from the people when we're going through these horrible situations of hatred, discrimination, bias. If you can, and come and regroup among each other and figure out what's going on, why does this keep happening, and heal. Black people need to do that in 2022 and in the years to come. That's the only way. First, it starts up here. And sometimes it would take going to prayer, fasting and prayer, going to with the Most High and point these things out. Because some things is deep wounded. So sometimes in the black community, that's what they need. Maybe there's a certain degree they do need to be separate, to a certain degree, till they understand to love themselves, look at themselves. Don't mean you have to hate somebody. No, you have to hate them. But look what you've been conditioned to think through TV, through the holidays, and so you take that and you pass it on from generation to generation to your child because of the environment, and they can't figure out when they're the only black child out there and they're going through this psyop. Maybe they friends over here that were like treat them royalty, treat them equally, love them. When they got over here, among these people, it was a totally different ballgame. Why is that? And they confused, and they resent themselves. And some people, it can call a mental breakdown. Go into worst case, depression, suicide. What I'm saying, it can happen to any other group of people, and it's happening to other group of people. But right now, it's happening to us, people that look like us. It's all around you. I'm not just saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just saying this. It's around people going through this right now, what I'm saying. And everything starts spiritually. It works out, it turns from internal to external. We lighten up our hair, we lighten up our skin, because TV told us to. And the next thing you know, you have people saying, I want to be like them, I want to be like them, I don't want to be like myself. That's among us, some of us, because we're conditioned. And of course we know what's behind that. That's Satanist too. He's behind that because he conditioned these people, they're projected on these people. And sometimes even though you're in a good environment, but be aware, you don't have a balance of people that look like you, that hold that, they're going to go through that part of life. It's good to have all people that know different grades of people. But we have to begin to know people. Don't disassociate who you are. Because at the end of the day, they're going to come back and remind you who you are by what you appear to be on the outside. When it comes inside these four, east, northwest, in this country, and everything in between, that's how America is. North America is. Probably other places, a few other places, the same way. They just speak a different language. But there's some areas that are probably going through this too. And I hope this message get around to people and it was translated to somebody. Why are you going through it? Because you are the people of the book. So my name is James. Till next time, you guys take it easy and be blessed. And you take care of yourself. And keep up. Remember, you're the chosen people. Take care.